If you're trying to run meta lead generation ads on Facebook, but notice that your CPCs are way too high and your CPMs are extremely high, it's because your ads are underperforming, and it's typically because of 3 specific reasons that I'm going to discuss in this lesson. So without further ado, let's jump into it. All right, so jumping into the top 3 reasons why your lead generation ads continue to fail. Really what it comes down to is 3 key areas. Specifically, you're targeting the wrong awareness level of your market. The sophistication is not yet dialed in, and your ads are not necessarily built for the right audience. You're kind of more seeking attention versus the actual intent of high quality buyers. And this is unfortunately a thing that's a big pet peeve of mine, because sometimes people think that having good high quality content will fix and overcome bad planning into how you are going to market. So these are the questions that you need to ask yourself even before you start filming any of your ads. These 3 things are extremely important because they absolutely will wreck the overall performance of your campaign. So first up is the awareness level. If you haven't read the book Breakthrough Advertising by Eugene Schwartz, he breaks this down. So what you can think of market awareness is the level of understanding and intent a prospect has about the problem, available solutions, or the solution that you have. So when it comes to market awareness, they have 5 key levels that play into market awareness. First being the unaware market, problem aware, then solution aware, all the way down to most aware. And what you can think is you can think of unaware being the largest audience pool that you can pull from, and the most aware being like the most confined pool. So to give you an idea of like examples of each of these, so an unaware market is, and this would be an example of how you would advertise, is why most contractors struggle to stay booked year round. What I'm doing there is I'm speaking from the instance of me as a marketing company trying to market to contractors. But what I can put in there in that ad to open up an unaware market that doesn't necessarily know that my solution exists is why most contractors struggle to stay booked year over year. And so what happens is people will have curiosity when they hear such an ad or such a call out, that they're going to basically say, wait, that sounds like me. Well, why is that? And so what you're doing is you're opening up an unaware market because these are people that you're speaking to that doesn't necessarily know that they have a problem. Next, we go into the problem aware. So these are people that know they have a problem, but they don't know about the solution. So for example, struggling with inconsistent leads every single month, ? So this is what I'm basically calling out that pain. They're like, yes, that is me. I struggle with getting leads every single month. Solution aware is where they know that there's a solution out there. So this is Instagram ads can generate leads if they're set up correctly. So what we're doing there is we're talking about the particular mechanism, Instagram ads, can generate leads, but they need to be set up correctly. So this is where you get people curious, because really all marketing is just increasing curiosity for somebody to get to the next line, to the next page, to take that initiation action that you want them to take in order to get to that next level. So solution aware, basically we're saying like, hey, we know that you know about Instagram ads, but did you know that you have to set them up correctly? Causes curiosity. So product aware, you can think of, yes, they know the solution exists, but product aware means that they know that your product exists on the market. So for example, we help contractors generate exclusive Instagram leads. So this is where you start speaking of like the features of your product, benefits, guarantees, and most aware is where the client knows that you exist, your product exists. And so really this is the most confined pool. You can really kind of think of it as like a retargeting campaign. So it's usually we recommend running like re-offers, discounts, promos, testimonials, limited spots available. All of these things help with opening up that most aware market, because obviously they know you exist, but they just need like a little bit more to be able to take action. And unfortunately, awareness levels, a lot of people that are running ads don't necessarily know that these exist, and they can apply to every single market, roofing, contracting. And if you take this in consideration when you're developing your ads, you will start understanding, okay, where does my client fall on this perspective? And you can speak directly to them and educate them that in such a way that they need to be educated. If you ever find yourself running out of clientele and you kind of feel like your ads are fatiguing, usually it's because you need to work your way from here backwards to open up a larger market. Next up in reason number 2 is the market sophistication. So market sophistication is how many times your audience has already seen either the same promise, the same offer, or the same ad angle. A good example of market sophistication is you have to think of like the weight loss space. Weight loss space is one of those spaces that people have heard it for hundreds of years at this point, between fitness programs, special mechanisms, special programs, special foods that can help you lose weight. If you were to jump, say, into the fitness space, you couldn't like lean in with an offer saying like, hey, I'm going to help you lose weight. Well, that doesn't change anything, because everybody understands that they have to lose weight, and they've heard it from 20, 30, 40 other people probably in the same week of how to lose weight. So what you have to think of is how sophisticated my audience is in order to market to that audience. So there are 5 particular levels to market sophistication. Level 1 you can think of as like the least sophisticated your market is. Your market doesn't understand anything about that industry. Whereas level 5 is they are very sophisticated, they've heard it all, kind of like the weight loss example. Level 1 is the first claim: get more leads for your local business. If I ran an ad that says get more leads for your local business, if you're probably listening to this or a high ticket coach or whatever, you've probably heard that a million times. Then you have level 2, which is improved claim: get more leads at a lower cost than Google ads. Hey, we know that people have tested Google ads. Well, what if we told them that they can get more leads for a lower cost elsewhere? Okay, so we know that we're now utilizing terms like Google ads because our audience, we're assuming, are more sophisticated. Level 3 is the mechanism. So now they're getting more advanced. So generate local leads utilizing Instagram ads. This is where you would instill a new mechanism to your system. You can also think of this like back to the weight loss example. Lose weight with this 10-step program. Lose 20 pounds with the Fat Burner 3000. You're adding in a new mechanism into the market. Level 4 is mechanism optimization. What we would do is now where your audience is more sophisticated, they understand about the mechanism, Instagram ads, or this weight loss 3000. What can we change about that mechanism? Well, in the example of Instagram ads, why most Instagram ads fail and how our funnel fixes it. So what we're doing now is we're taking the Instagram ads, which was the mechanism that people understood, and now we're saying like, well, why most Instagram ads actually fail and how our funnel actually fixes it. We now know that people understand about the mechanism, utilizing Instagram ads to grow your business, but now we're going in like, well, maybe it's flawed in some way, and that's our angle on the market. And then level 5 is a completely like reframe of it. So the reason your leads don't qualify has nothing to do with targeting. That causes like a lot more curiosity. That does is people have probably heard it all. They've heard about Instagram ads, Facebook ads, Google ads, and all of these kind of things in order to generate new leads. What level 5 does is it completely reframes that. If I was marketing, I'd say, what do you think, what are the best ways to market in 2026? Is it Instagram ads, Facebook ads, Google ads? Well, what if I told you it was actually none of the above? So what I did there is a reframe. Because what I did is I presumed that everybody had heard about these ads on growing their business. And I just changed it because I'm like, that's actually not the way that you would scale your business. That would be how I would market to a level 5 sophistication. That's why like if you were to get into the marketing agency world today, it's actually really, really hard because there's so many competitors out there. So many people have heard everything out there, and there's a lot of snake oil out there. And so when you go in and you're trying to open up one of these markets of market sophistication at such a high level, you got to be very particular with the way that you market. I have one client, she's in the sales space. So she helps females get into high ticket sales. And with her, she makes a very basic claim, get into high ticket sales. There's not much competition in this space. Not many people have heard about high ticket sales. Since it's really early on, there's not much competition in the space. You can make very basic claims and you can get a lot of traction with it. And then finally, reason number 3, and this is probably my biggest pet peeve, is the fact that people will spend money for views on their ads rather than intent. And this is an issue because people always, even when they're posting organic content on their social media pages, they think, they got to be incredibly well edited, cool aerial drone footage, X, Y, and Z. The problem is with that is it doesn't always bring intent. The way I know this is, think of it this way. If I were to do a video to teaching you guys how to do ads, what would be more beneficial? A really cool video of like all these flashy cool edits, or me actually walking you through step by step how to set up an ad campaign? Which one do you think would bring probably better quality people, not just people that are wanting to stare at like cool images? And when you start thinking of that in that aspect, you would get much better leads when you're much more technical. Yes, you're not going to get as many views, but you're talking directly to the person you would want to be talking to, or a attract. What you need to think of is, well, how would I structure my videos? So here's a couple examples of attention hooks versus intent, because we want to go for intent when we're creating our videos, when we're creating our ads, because that's what's going to get people and the right people to take action on our video. So for example, attention hook, this will blow your mind. Rather than that, we would want to change it over to, if your leads aren't financially qualifying, this is why. People that can relate with that are going to be like, oh, that sounds exactly like the leads that I've been dealing with lately. And there's a curiosity there instead of just saying this will blow your mind, because that can appeal to almost anybody. Another version, stop scrolling. Intent hook, contractors struggling with unqualified leads. We called out our ideal audience and talked about a pain point that they have. Another one is, you won't believe this ad strategy. On the opposite, why your meta ads work at $20 a day but collapse at scale. So we're very particular. We're calling out that direct audience, something that they would recognize and understand, and stomp on that video. An example that I did just recently on an ad campaign was one of my clients. We were pushing ads that were like, make money online, and we were getting the crappiest leads. Then we focused on women who make 5 to 10K and feel that they're capped in their jobs. We ran both of those ads, and the ad that got majority of the ad spend initially was the ad that was saying, hey, make money online. And that was because it appealed to a very broad audience, but the intent behind it was horrendous. The leads that we got were trash. They couldn't afford crap. We changed it to a much more confined audience, women making $5,000 to $10,000 a month that feel capped and should be making more. That resonated with the audience that we wanted. We got much better quality leads, and we're able to scale that campaign to a 5 to 10x ROAS. And it was because we were much particular. We were very targeted in how we were wanting better intent with higher quality people that we would assume would buy our stuff. And it ended up working out, and that's what's been able to help us scale. And this is where, like, if you're having a lot of bad quality leads, simply by changing up your hook can make the biggest difference. And if you haven't done so yet, make sure, read the book, Breakthrough Advertising by Eugene Schwartz. It goes in there, has tons of different hooks, different variations, and it helps out an absolute ton. If you're interested in it, you can hit me up on Instagram, or you can leave a comment. I actually have a PDF of that book. It's a pretty expensive book, but I have a PDF of it if you want it. Just comment PDF below this video and I'll send it over to you. If you take these 3 factors, especially awareness, market sophistication, and then focusing on intent, you're going to be miles and miles ahead of your standard competition, because there's just so many businesses that don't understand this about marketing, and this is marketing 101. This is stuff that dates back to the early 1900s when it comes to marketing. So implement this into your business. You're going to notice that your ad performance is going to be much better over the long run. And yeah, if you guys have any questions, drop questions below. Make sure to comment the word PDF below. And if you guys are wanting to find out more information, please subscribe to the channel. With that being said, I will catch you guys in the next video.